All right, what is going on today, guys? Welcome to the Jason Wojo podcast. I have an amazing guest on today. He's one of my mentors, really good friends, Craig Ballantyne. He's also known as the world's most disciplined man, has also been able to build multiple seven-figure businesses stress-free. His first multi-million-dollar business was his Turbulence Training Fitness empire with over 151,000 customers and 25 million YouTube views. He then wrote his first book, The Perfect Day Formula, which has helped over 50,000 entrepreneurs get more done and make more money. Today, he owns earlytorise.com and coaches thousands of entrepreneurs from over 45 countries and has helped over 260 entrepreneurs make their first million online. And he's also the author of Wall Street Journal's bestseller, Unstoppable. Welcome, Craig Ballantyne. How you doing, man?
Hey, this is going to be great. Welcome. Thanks, Jason. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you hopping on. I had some questions for you. I kind of want to get first into I know I gave a decent intro, but I want to go into your story and how you really got into the space.
Yeah, definitely. The first business wasn't stress-free, but some of them, the later ones have been a lot better.
Yeah. So what about growing up? What made you get into this entrepreneurial spirit?
I definitely wasn't one of those kids who had a lemonade stand when I was a kid. I thought I'd work for a big company. And in fact, what I thought I was going to do, Jason, was, I grew up in Canada. Everybody played hockey. I wanted to play hockey. I realized I'd never be able to play professional hockey. So I thought, how can I be in the industry? And I thought I'd be a strength and conditioning coach. Went in, did all that sort of exercise science stuff. Ended up writing for Men's Health magazine. Realized I loved creating programs and writing a whole lot more than I loved being in the gym. So I phased out my personal training, wrote for Men's Health, created online workout programs, sold follow-along workout videos for about a decade. And then I decided to switch. I decided enough is enough with the fitness stuff. I wanted to help people like you, people like Jason Capital, and all those, Bedros Keuilian, all these great business owners. So I wrote the Perfect Day Formula, which helped somebody who's an entrepreneur. And a lot of people who are listening, if you're starting your first business, or even if you're established, man, your day is chaotic. I go and I help entrepreneurs make that day very focused, very disciplined, very structured so that they can scale their business. And that's what I've been doing since 2015 through the books, through our courses, through our morning routine program, our discipline program, and through our one-on-one coaching. And we help entrepreneurs in everything from fitness to manufacturing to construction.
So the biggest thing with the whole morning routine part, and I want to get your viewpoint on this because I don't want to go into the morning routine itself. I actually want to get into why people break it, because I think that a lot of people will take a certain strategy or whatever that they want to implement, but then they wind up breaking it over time. And I think it might be because of it causing a behavioral change. So how do you break past that? How do you keep the consistency in it?
Well, most people are following somebody else's life. Not just in their morning routine, but in so many things. They see what people get rewarded for and they think, okay, I guess I'll go do that, even though that isn't really what I want to do or how it works best for me. And so the thing that you have to do before you set up any routine, before you set up your business, before you choose your careers, you have to do your self-reflection and introspection. And you have to figure out, what time of day am I most productive? When do I have the greatest energy? That's what you have to figure out for your morning routine. And then you have to go, well, a lot of people do these long morning routines of a lot of self-care stuff, and then they never get down to the actual work that matters. And so they're in this perpetual loop. And we don't like that in my business. What we teach people to do is, listen, if you're better suited for getting to work on your number one project, push everything else till later. And if it really matters, you'll do it. So we help people kind of get unstuck in that position, but it comes through self-reflection. If there's somebody out there who's like, well, I have these hours and there's no other time for me to work out. Okay, you can do your workout first, but then you got to get immediately into the most important thing. So we teach people to focus on their number one most important thing as early as possible in the day. Because if you can do that, Jason, you've owned the day. And most people, what they do is they just have way too many activities before they get to it. And their willpower and discipline and intention decreases over the day. Their procrastination goes up. And the next thing you know, it's another day with nothing done.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing that I saw in my business was that I was doing all these small tasks in the morning, trying to get stuff out of the way because I would see all these emails and stuff in Slack. And then I really started centralizing between 8 a.m. and 12, I started centralizing things that and while I was scaling before I started hiring people, was like those 3 to 4 most important things that I have to get done today that require the least amount of effort that make me the most amount of money. And that was when I started really scaling. And then obviously with like increased revenue, then I was able to hire people to, do the small tasks throughout the day that I wasn't able to do anymore.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's very important for people to understand is that it's never been easier to bring on people for a couple hours to free up an afternoon for you. And so if you go back like 20 years ago, Jason, when I was a personal trainer and I was making that transition to online business, when I was able to get rid of all of my training sessions on a Thursday afternoon, I had from 11 a.m. until the end of the day. That was the biggest breakthrough, because instead of me working 1 hour, 5 days a week, I was working 5 hours in a row. And that flow, the fact that there was not a lot of transition time, I was able to, massively increase my productivity, which led to a massive increase in sales. The cool thing is today, for everybody listening, even if you're only making like a couple grand a month, you can still go on to Upwork and find somebody who will work for a few dollars to take off your data entry and all that sort of stuff from your plate, which means it opens up, for 50, $100, it opens up 5 hours. If you can't turn that $100 investment in 5 hours into $1,000, and I don't know if you should be an entrepreneur, but that's what you should be thinking. You don't have to hire somebody for 40 hours a week. You can hire someone for 4 hours a week, and that can be a massive stepping stone for everybody listening.
Yeah. And then obviously like building systems around that too, because then you get that one person trained on, then that person, you can then pay them to train somebody else. And then you're just duplicating it over and over again.
Yeah.
The next question I wanted to ask you was, through all the businesses that you've worked with, like, what do you think the biggest pillar, and we can go into like, there's so many different things. There's like, ads, funnels, your offer creation, the back end of the business, sales. Like, what do you think has been the biggest pillar in having that business go to 7 figures faster than most?
Spending most of your time selling. So one of my mentors said, if your business is not in $1 million and you're not spending 80% of your time selling, then you probably will never get there. And most people, if you take a look at the beginner entrepreneur, what are they doing? Well, they're posting on social media. They're looking at other people on social media. Maybe they make one ad. Maybe they do one sales call a day. And it's a very small amount of actually revenue generating activities. But in the real world, sales is, making money coming into the business is like somebody breathing oxygen into the body. A human cannot survive without oxygen. A business cannot survive without sales. In this day and age, there's way too many of these businesses propped up with, government money, and you're getting money from the government for doing nothing. And, people think they have a business. It's ridiculous. It's not going to last. And a real business, the one that hits 7 figures, is one that focuses on sales. So do you have to have a great offer? Absolutely. Do you have to probably have paid advertising? Definitely, to get past 7 figures. But in order to get that first $1 million mark, you just got to focus on sales. So if you have an idea, especially for a physical product, don't go and spend like $3,000 and order a bunch of stuff from China if you haven't sold one and proven the concept yet. Instead, make a couple, go down to like a flea market, go to a garage sale, prove that people want to buy this stuff. And then you can start to put more time into the sales. And, there's just such an inflated fake business world right now, because so many people have been given money for doing nothing, that everybody thinks they're a genius when it comes to business. But in the next year or two, that's all going to wash out. And as long as everybody listening is focusing on real, true sales, you'll still be around and be able to grow.
Yeah. And that's one thing I've seen with a lot of our clients is that like, and some of them do well, some of them can't, because they can get leads into their business, which is really not the hardest part. Like paid ads is not as hard as people think it is, but once the lead comes into their ecosystem, what is happening to the lead? Like, how are they actually being converted? And that's where I really truly believe that is like most entrepreneurs will fail because they just can't control their lead flow. And even if they had lead flow, they can't close people with predictability. Like they don't play the numbers game.
Yeah, most people do lack, the traffic and conversion. It's traffic and conversion. It's leads and leads and sales. And it doesn't matter if you're talking foot traffic into a shop or you're talking Facebook traffic to a sales page. most entrepreneurs don't know how to do anything but word of mouth, and word of mouth will only get you so far. In most businesses, it'll get you, you can get you to $100,000, $200,000 word of mouth, but then you are going to be absolutely plateaued unless you can, as you said, Jason, control that lead flow.
Yeah. And I see your offer. I want to get your opinion on this, about the farmer's routine, which
Yeah.
I love, by the way. That's really that was a really good purchase. The thing I wanted to ask you is, like, for really high level entrepreneurs who will understand this, like, what are you doing as far as like the whole front end? Like, I don't know if you're breaking even or losing money on the front end, but most entrepreneurs will lose money on the front end and be able to sell high ticket on the back end. So like, there's a lot of business owners who spend money on ads, but are afraid to like not profit on the front end because that scares them. So like, what's your biggest piece of advice for like not breaking, like losing money on the front end and obviously selling the high ticket on the back end?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and we're actually failing in one major part here, and we're fixing it with some other stuff. But in our business, we're actually spending about 2,000, 2,500 bucks a day, and we are profitable on the front end by 500 bucks. Okay, big lesson here for everybody is, we would be happy going break even, but there's like, that's just ad spend. That doesn't include, like, obviously there's people's salaries in there. There's the the amount of money we put in creative and all that sort of stuff. So there's other costs. So really we are quote unquote breaking even with it. And I'll walk through the funnel in a second. One of my mentors, a guy named Dan Kennedy, he once said that his biggest mistake that he ever made in his business was that when he had an offer that worked, was that he wasn't more aggressive in getting new customers. So, if, in this situation, I'm okay with us breaking even. And even though the team is like, yeah, we would love to be more profitable, I'm like, we just want as many customers as possible. And here's why, Jason, because if you go back to my first career, I was in fitness industry. And a lot of the people, I would say like 20% of our coaching clients know me from the fitness industry. And it was one of the reasons why they're like, well, I already trust this guy because I've bought his programs in the past. And, we've got people paying us 30, 40 grand a year for, we have one guy going on his fourth year paying me 30 to 40 grand a year because he originally trusted me from the fitness industry. Now I believe I did everything I possibly could to get as many customers in the fitness industry, but I just sit here some days and I go, if I had just figured out how to double or triple my sales in the fitness industry, my coaching business, my business coaching business would be actually much bigger than that because of my fitness business. And it was like the two aren't really connected, but they are in a way that the greater the base of the pyramid, the higher you can go up. And everybody always enjoys a good pyramid reference in a money-making presentation, but that's the best analogy. So back to our funnel. And again, you asked really good questions about, are you break even? Are you losing money on the front end? The reason why we're not losing money on the front end is because we've done a poor job of connecting the morning routine program with the back end program that we're selling. We're fixing that by reworking the brand promise around the high ticket coaching on the back end. Now, in a perfect world, as guys like Traffic and Funnels, I believe, and many other like very, very big businesses, they go negative on the first. Like they'll spend $100 to get $80 back, and newbies might be sitting here thinking, going, well, why would you lose $20 on every sale? Like, I'm not a business genius, but how does that work? And it's because if somebody buys the first product, chances are that they'll invest $10,000, which makes the entire flow possible. Like with Traffic and Funnels, my head of marketing, he bought a $5 ebook. And by the time he was out of that funnel on Facebook, he had spent 500 bucks. And then from there, we ended up spending, I think, 15 or 20 grand with them later on to be in one of their coaching programs. So yeah, they'll lose money on the front end because they're selling way more later on. And I think most people listening to this are probably familiar with Proactive, the acne cream. And Proactive was famous for going negative for 8 months before they finally made money on a customer. what that means is, I don't know how much Proactive is. Let's say it was $97 a month. And so that means they were willing to spend $800 to get a customer, even though they wouldn't make more than $800 until that customer had been with them for the 9th month. But that allowed them, by going so negative, that allowed them to outspend all of their competitors. And so now they were able to bring in more customers, and their customers did stay with them long enough that eventually it was a profitable company. Now that is just super advanced. That's knowing your numbers better than any other business. But most of the wealthiest guys I know do something similar to that, lose money 30, 60 days because they know that that customer is going to be positive for them in 90 days. And that's why people would do that. But in our flow, it is, we spend about $100 and we make about 120 on that morning routine.
That's not bad. That's good.
Yeah.
Because I had like I had 100 ad templates offer. And that was the only offer that I ever ran that was getting me like probably over 100 front end buyers a day. And then we were actually pretty profitable on that. So I was getting about like $700 to $1,000 a day. And then I was selling high ticket on the back end. So I was spending like maybe like 90 grand to make over 300 a month. And that like ran for 2 months. And then after the 2 months, I got shut down by Facebook. And then I tried like re-getting the offer back up, and I had to tweak some of like the copy and the bold claims that I was making. And like the conversion rate just fell. And then it started getting really negative. So I was just like, it was tough. So I'm trying to get it back up right now. But
we peaked a year ago. Like we hit 100 sales a day in October of 2020. And then we haven't been able to get back up to that level. Now we're finally having some progress on YouTube. So that was only on Facebook. Now we're having progress on YouTube, and YouTube is untapped for us. So we're pretty optimistic that we can build that. Then we also have more programs in our follow-up email series. So we have this $300 discipline course that goes after it. And that is all profit. So we've connected a cheap front end of, I think it's $49 to a cheap-ish it's not a high ticket, it's a low ticket follow-up. And now what we need to do is connect those to, we're creating a new program called the Disciplined Entrepreneur. It'll be much more in line, but we also get like our front end brings in a lot of people who are not entrepreneurs, and we do coaching for entrepreneurs. So our front end is not perfect for what we do later on. So we need to fix one of the two, or both of them actually. And the good thing is we're very optimistic, and our email does move some people into the coaching and stuff like that, but it's not perfect yet. But when the thing is a much better machine, it'll be running very nicely.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And the one thing is like if it's running really broad right now, you're getting a decent amount of broad buyers that aren't entrepreneurs. The thing that like people need to understand is that once you change that angle to just entrepreneurs, your cost might go up, but you'll make more money on the back end because the congruency is way deeper. Because some people don't like to go very narrow. They're like, oh, like I just want to get as many buyers as possible. But then when they get a high ticket, like all the calls are coming in on the thank you page or email, and then like the people are completely like unrelatable to your actual offer.
Yeah, I mean, what good is it for me to be like the world's best-selling morning routine to teachers?
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Yeah. And then the last question that I had for you was about delegation, because I know that you obviously help entrepreneurs, make more money in less time. So what's the biggest mental block and how to break it for delegation? Because some people in the beginning, like I get it, they like quality control. But at some point, like I think it's all about finding people who can do at least 80% as well as what you can do. So I kind of just want to get your like perspective on the whole mental block of delegation.
Yeah, I think there's two things. And one we kind of covered at the start, because most people, beginner entrepreneurs, people that are, okay, now I'm making, maybe it was a side hustle. I was making $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Oh, I hit $5,000. I'm making $5,000 at work. I'm going to quit my job. Okay. Now I'm doing everything 12 hours a day, making $6,000, $7,000. Oh my goodness. I can't hire somebody and pay them $3,000 a month. So I'm just going to keep on doing everything. And then that's a vicious cycle, right? Like you make this much money, you barely keep any, and you think you can't afford any anyone else to do it. And then therefore you don't hire anyone. Therefore you never grow your income and you're just stuck in this loop. The other thing, which I don't think about as much as you might, but you brought up the point around people have a quality control issue. I don't have a quality control issue. Like my latest book, I didn't even write. And not only do I not write my emails, the guy who took over my emails taught another person to do my emails. So I'm like 2 steps removed from even writing my own emails or my sales copy. You know, the stuff I do is, you know, anything that involves the pretty face, you know, that's all I do, Jason, is the pretty face stuff now. And so trust me, everybody's replaceable. Everybody is replaceable. Like, think about this, like, any TV show you've ever watched where it's like, you know, this, you know, like Charlie Sheen back in the day for that show, like Modern Man or whatever it was. And, you know, like they didn't re-sign him to the contract. So they brought in Ashton Kutcher. Now, listen, the show went on. Everybody's replaceable. Everybody's replaceable in the NFL. Everybody's replaceable in Major League Baseball. Like, you're just replaceable. Even you as the owner of your business is replaceable. Like, they trade CEOs of McDonald's all the time. Those are replaceable. So even as for us, we need to embrace being replaceable. And so what that means, you know, if somebody has the money problem and the it's not good enough problem, what you need to do is just lean into it and do it. There's no other way to get over that other than, okay, I got to hire someone to do my customer service first. Like, that's, if you're doing info products online or supplements online, like, customer service is one of the first things that has to go, because you can't do customer service. It is like the lowest costing job, and you can go and find great people in the Philippines. We've had a team of 5 from the Philippines that have worked for us for over 7 years. And I think 3 of them are family members, and they're actually related to each other, and they're great. They do an amazing job. And I don't even know how much we pay them, but you have to get rid of that. And then you also have to get rid of your own personal stuff. Like, you shouldn't be going and doing all your grocery shopping. You shouldn't be going and cutting your own lawn. Like, that's another area that most entrepreneurs never think about. And they're like, oh man, I got so many things I got to fix around the house. And it's like, you'll never have that escape velocity to scale if you're doing everything around the house. It just doesn't work that way. So I personally like going to the grocery store, but we order groceries more than we go to the grocery store. Instacart, you know, we don't have a big lawn here, but I would never cut my lawn. I don't like doing a lot of the manual labor stuff. So it's always get somebody else to do it. And eventually you get to a point where you get a personal assistant who's able to organize your day, organize your calendar. I have no idea how to send somebody a Zoom link. Like, every time somebody books a call, my assistant sends us the Zoom link. Like, I don't know how to do that. And I don't want to know how to do it, because if I knew how to do it, I would do it, and it would stop me from doing other things, like speaking on this podcast to a lot more people. So you have to wrap your mind around those things. And it's automate, delegate, and eliminate. One other thing, Jason, that most entrepreneurs make the mistake of is they delegate something that should be eliminated. And what that means is you're delegating something that doesn't actually move the needle in the business, that doesn't make you more money. And now you're paying somebody to do something that shouldn't be done at all. There's a lot of things that go on that list, and you have to ruthlessly protect it. And if you haven't read the book 80-20 by Richard Koch, you need to read that book, because 80% of your results come from 20% of the work done in your business. And you need to look around and go, where are we wasting time and money? Shut that stuff down. Like, my friend Jason Capital, one of the things I'm most impressed by with that young guy is he will shut down an offer, even if, like, to the untrained entrepreneur, it looks like that offer is working, but he looks at it and goes, this offer is working like, you know, this much, but I have this other offer working like this much, which means that we're putting, you know, probably this much resources into an offer that's only working this much, and we're putting this much resource into an offer that's working this much. That's bad business. You got to take all those resources and put them into the offer that's working and do more of it. So just take this simple rule, do more of what works and less of what doesn't. And that will help you in your business.
Yeah. And that was the biggest thing, because I'm actually like really good friends with JC, and we talk so much because like I'm one of his like mentees. he's been like a huge help for me, and we've like really connected over the last like 8 to 12 months. And everything that I do with my, agency itself, like we only focus on like that one thing. And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they're trying to do this, and then they see like this shiny object syndrome of like, hey, we could run this offer, we could try that and this. And it's like the one thing right now that makes you the most money with the least amount of effort, if it's doing this amount right now, odds are if you just triple your traffic or triple your resources, then you'll make 3 times as much money.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, the mistake that I made, because I'm not without mistakes, trust me. The mistake that I made back in the fitness industry was it was easier for me. There's a path of least resistance to go and create another product rather than double down on traffic generation and do the hard stuff to take the main offer and grow it. And a lot of people will go, oh, I'm going to start a new social media, or I'm going to create a second info product. But that is not how you grow a big business. It's easier. It's the easier path because anybody can go and create products. And I still to this day have to slap my hand because I think like, oh, well, we need this product next. No, we don't need this product now. What we need to do is sell 10 times as many of this product. That's what we need to do. So be careful about adding things to the list that take you away from the main thing.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll conclude with that. Man, I really appreciate having you on. It's been a good 30 minutes, and I'll put all your stuff down below. I'll put the farmer's routine link as well, so you can get some front end buyers. But yeah, man, I really appreciate having you. And it's been a great talk, man.
Thanks, man. And if you can put the link to my latest book, and everybody can download this for free, no opt-in required. You can get the ebook or the audio book. It's craigsent.me/perfect week. This will help you take back control of your time so that you have more time for what matters, whether it's your personal life or your own business or whatever it is. It's like, man, I'm so proud of that book, and I want everybody to read it because it will truly change your life. So Jason, I really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you and the other Jason Capital someday soon, man.
Yeah, of course.